gentlemen, may I have your attention, please? The show starts in 3, 2, 1, go.
Good morning, CaneSport. It's June the 14th, 2023. I'm Gary Ferman, the publisher of CaneSport.com, joined this morning by our managing editor, Matt Shodell, as we discuss the news of the day. And Matt, we've given the young guys off this morning. They've been grinding it out, working hard. We'll be talking about some of the fruits of their labor here momentarily. But I thought I would start with a column that I wrote that is on the website this morning. And football programs typically don't get covered a lot in the summertime, like especially in today's system. The focus is on recruiting. And in the meantime, while all this is going on, the team has started off-season workouts and very strenuous off-season workouts. These are not like, tiddlywinks out there on Green Tree practice field. They're getting after it. Mario Cristobal wants his players to improve here in the summer. It's very important to the season. And so I thought I would write a column just on the different things I've been hearing from those workouts, what players seem to be making moves as training camp approaches in August, and just give everybody a little bit of an update on the football team. So that's on the website today. I thought we would start out this show talking about it a little bit. I'll just go the way I did it by position. And, at quarterback, obviously everybody knows that Tyler Van Dyke is going to be the starter. But the drama is really in who's going to be the backup. And I think that there has been an assumption that it's going to be Ja'Cory Brown. But I'm not so sure, Matt. And I don't, I know I'm walking on eggshells a little bit here because people get mad at me anytime I discuss this. But Emory Williams had a really good spring practice. Ja'Cory Brown really needs a redshirt season. And those things, to me, might collide a little bit here, depending on what happens in August. And so it's going to be really interesting to see what happens there. But equally interesting is what is taking place at the running back position, where Mark Fletcher has been extremely impressive in these off-season workouts. And there is the hope, I think, that he could be a workhorse back in his true freshman season. And he is getting a crash course on Shannon Dawson's offense. They are doing everything they can do to have him ready to go by training camp. And I'm also hearing really, really good things about Nebraska transfer Jay Allen, that he has been impressing so far here this summer. So, Matt, can you imagine if the Canes go into the season with Fletcher and Allen as the feature backs? What does that mean for Parrish and Chaney?
It means you're making things up. Listen, anybody right now can have projections and conjecture, and your column's really good because you do have some insight from some sources that I know are very solid on what's sort of going on inside the program. So I would urge everybody to really read the column and not think he's making things up, because Gary actually got good intel, which he always does. But I mean, it is good intel, and it's so timely nice. And it's timely intel.
Thank you so much, Matt. I really
but that's the only compliment I'm going to give you all year, so enjoy it.
I know that. I am aware of that. That's why I'm saying thank you.
You mentioned Ja'Cory Brown, and it's such a hot button for no apparent reason with fans, because you think he's a better athlete than he is a quarterback, instead of just saying he's a dual threat quarterback, which is fine. Everybody's entitled to their opinion. There's nothing wrong with that. I mean, you could say that about anybody. But
I saw him the other day, at the camp. I was out at the camp. Somebody threw him a ball. He was playing catch. He snagged the ball out of the air so naturally and so purely. And I mean, I am telling you, I look at this guy and I see Michael Irvin, And I know I've been controversial and people want to jump on me when I said last year I would love to see him take some reps at wide receiver. I am telling you, This guy is an elite athlete that is getting ready to spend his third college football season on the sidelines for the most part. And I know he played a little bit last year, but I didn't think it was great. I thought I saw some improvement in spring practice. Do I think you're going to go out and beat Florida State or Clemson with a quarterback this year? No, I really don't. And I see an absolutely elite player who could be helping this team enormously if he wasn't pigeonholing himself into being a quarterback. And, we'll see how this plays out as his career goes forward. I mean, I hope it works itself out in a positive way. But yeah, he is absolutely, he might be the best pure athlete on the entire football team who's making a very minimal contribution to winning and losing. But go ahead. Sorry.
First, okay, so it's his second year this year. He's not wasting his third year potentially. He's wasting his second year potentially if he doesn't play. But what I think is interesting
what I meant was it'll be his third year before it's really an issue. Yeah, I'm sorry.
Right, so that's the thing, right? So this is what's interesting to me is you can they're not going to name a backup quarterback. They're just not. If Tyler Van Dyke happens to get hurt, which God forbid happens, then they'll figure it out. I'm sure they're going to do what they always do, which is, it's every week they're battling, da-da-da-da-da. They're going to keep sharing reps with them. To make sure they're ready to replace Tyler if need be, and have both of them ready because it's a very thin, obviously, depth chart at quarterback with basically 3 guys, with only 3 scholarship guys. But what strikes me, this is, the bigger question, which you didn't actually address in your column, but which I started looking at a little bit yesterday because I was curious about it. When you look at Shannon Dawson and the type of quarterback he's had at Houston, he has a great passing quarterback, right, with Clayton Tune. I think he threw for over 4,000 yards, which is ridiculous. But Clayton Tune also was successful because of his running ability. He ran for over 1,100 yards in his 4 years. I think he had almost 550 yards this past season, not even including yards lost on sacks, ran for 5 touchdowns. And I think Shannon Dawson enjoys having that kind of escapability. With Miami having potentially a much better offensive line, it's not as important. But when you're running that type of offense that Shannon Dawson runs, these receivers are getting downfield quick, which is drawing the linebackers and DBs into the secondary. And if that quarterback has a spot to run, there's 10, 20, maybe even 30 yards to pick up if you're Jakari Brown. Tyler Van Dyke's not going to be doing that. So what I'm curious to see is if Shannon Dawson says, you know what, Josh Gaddis might not have been the greatest coordinator fit at Miami, but he had a great idea by game 6 last year, which was, hey, we're struggling in short yardage. Jakari Brown might be an answer. And you know what? Jakari, every time I can remember on 3rd and 4th down, he converted, I think, all of them except for one, even when other teams knew he was running the ball. Like, they weren't worried about him passing it. And if Jakari has improved his passing, which he looked much better until the spring game, if he's improved his passing, you can even use that because they were starting to just stack the box on those 3rd and 2s and 4th and 1s. They were just stacking the box like crazy. And if you have a receiver with 4.2 4-speed, Tyler Harrell, that's a touchdown. That's a touchdown if you have a guy who can throw the ball. So to me, as great an athlete as Jakari Brown is, I wouldn't say he should move to receiver or anywhere, or be a running back as a quarterback. Like, I think he still has to search out if he can be an accurate passer. That's all that's holding him back. He's got the arm strength. He can throw any pass in the world. He's got all the running ability. I mean, he has NFL wide receiver running ability, okay? If he can actually harness accuracy and technique and getting the ball out quick and understanding the offense, which I think he did a lot better of this spring, like next year, he's going to be one of the best quarterbacks in the country if he can do that. If he can't do that, then Gary's right. He needs to find another position because he's too talented to have him behind Emory Williams in his 3rd year next year if Emory's going to win that battle.
Let me say this, though, Matt. There's no harm in giving him another year to do it. Like,
he can be a great quarterback. That's what I'm trying to say.
Listen, I've been watching this for a long time, and I feel like I have an eye for talent in cases. And I'm just telling you, I see.
I shouldn't laugh when you say you have an eye for talent. That's rude.
You can laugh all you want.
I'm a rude person.
I look at that kid. I say elite.
You don't see guys that look like that at quarterback. You mentioned him playing receiver. Like, I'm not going to say he's playing receiver because I like him at quarterback. But, like, you don't see guys like that at either of those positions. Like, he's fast. He breaks tackles. I looked up his Pro Football Focus numbers last year, and these, some people might argue with Pro Football Focus grades. They do a pretty good job with yards after contact. he averaged almost a full yard more after contact than Henry Parrish did, the starting running back at Miami. You know, I mean, he can run the ball like a running back. He can run speed-wise like a wide receiver. And if he can just harness his accuracy, because he could throw like a quarterback, but it's the accuracy aspect and the decision-making. Like you saw in the spring game, he sees fans in the stands. All of a sudden, he tries to Superman it up again. He knows he's so athletic. Get out of the pocket, heave it downfield. Oops, I didn't see the safety. It's intercepted, whatever. Like, you know, those are the kinds of things he needs to weed out of his game. It's really on Shannon Dawson, because Shannon Dawson, again, he had Clayton Tune. He knows what a great dual threat quarterback looks like and what they can do. And if Ja'Carri Brown can throw the ball with accuracy, he's a Heisman Trophy candidate. Okay,
let me tell you what the difference.
It's easier said than done. You can't just say, "Oh, just fix a couple of mechanical things and get his accuracy fixed." That's why quarterbacks fail. If Tate Martell had accuracy, he would have been a great quarterback. Like, just because it's the one thing that he can't do, it's the most important thing that he can't do, which is why Gary says he might be better off, if he never fixes this, at least having a role as a really, really good athlete at a different spot. But certainly they need to get his accuracy right, because if his accuracy is right, he's a Heisman guy. Like, that's how good he is. That's why he should be a quarterback. And that's why you need to get him in games this year, I think, because if Tyler's gone after this year, you got to know if he's it or if he's not it.
Here's the thing about that I think is different, though. I know the Houston analogy. I know the numbers that the Houston quarterback put up last year. But Shannon Dawson's going to have more weapons to work with at Miami than he had at Houston. And the Miami receiver position, is it right yet? No, but it's getting closer and closer to being pretty good. Now that you add a speed guy like Harrell, you bring in a Ray Joseph or Robbie Washington, it's getting better, okay, than what we saw last year. Restrepo's healthy again. We'll see if Brashard Smith gives them anything. Colby Young should have a really good year. Jacoby George looked like he was getting his act together in the spring. And so it's getting better. And I'm expecting with Tyler Van Dyke, if he can stay healthy, that this offense is going to put up huge numbers, even without Tyler Van Dyke being a running quarterback. So it's going to be interesting to see if it plays out the way I think it's going to. But I'm not sure that there's as big a premium on the quarterback being a runner now with the way this program is going personnel-wise as it was at Houston. So we'll see how that plays out. All right, let me see what else we got here. All right, so I talked a little bit about the tight end position. Looking pretty good. The biggest thing at tight end that I would say is a little bit of a surprise is Riley Williams, the true freshman, is really doing well. So he's going to be on the heels of Jaleel Skinner for playing time if Jaleel Skinner doesn't take a step forward this fall. So that'll be something interesting to talk about. I already discussed the receivers a little bit, so I won't go there. You guys can read that in the story. The O-line, we know, is coming together well, but it's all young guys. And these off-season workouts are really important for these guys on the O-line because a few of them have not played. They're trying to build chemistry as a unit. You're bringing Cohen and Matt Lee into the program that have to mesh with the other guys. So this offensive line should be much better this year, but they have a lot of work to do this summer to make sure that they're better at the beginning of the season. So I talked a little bit about that in the column. Defensive line, very interesting spot right now in these off-season workouts. I think you know what we got with Leonard Taylor. The big thing about Leonard Taylor, Matt, is he's got to become more than like a one every 10 plays wonder. Okay, he'll make that great play and then you won't hear his name for a half hour. Okay, that can't be the case now this year. But there's two guys that are creating buzz from what I've been hearing at that position. One is Nigel E. Kelly, who everybody universally in the program believes can be a superstar and is going to get every chance to be that this year in his second year without question. And the other guy's a little bit of a surprise, almost an afterthought. But a lot of people are raving about Branson Dean, the defensive tackle transfer from Purdue, a guy that has come to Miami on a mission. He has a mean streak. He plays very hard. Right now, if I had to make a prediction, Matt, Branson Dean would start opposite Leonard Taylor. If I told you that, are you in disbelief or does it make sense to you?
It's indicative of where this program is. Branson Dean's an average to slightly above average defensive lineman. We know this because he played at Purdue and he had 30 tackles, 3 sacks. I mean, he's okay. He's fine. But again, is he that championship level player that I want on the roster? He's not. That's not the kind of guys you get in the portal for the most part. You do get
here we go. I was going to give you your portal platform later because we actually have a portal story on the website.
I have no problem using the portal for seniors, but look, let's face it. I mean, he's a transfer. He's not a free agent. Like, that's just what he is. And I think they've already missed on Thomas Gore. I think they already realized that was a miss, but they need him because they begged Jacob Lichtenstein to come back after he participated in senior day. Like, they just have a real problem after Leonard Taylor. And I enjoyed hearing all your code words for saying Leonard Taylor has a lack of effort problem. Okay, let's just call it what it is. He has a lack of effort problem, and I hate that.
I hate that. I try to be a little bit more politically.
Yeah, you try to be subtle. Well, let's just say what it is. Call a fig a fig. That's your favorite expression, right?
No, my favorite expression is.
I know it. I don't want you to say it. That's your new favorite expression. Okay, you're going with call a fig a fig.
I got to pay homage to my man Jay Collette on the message board
from your childhood, from the old Roman days. But anyway, that makes me crazy because I see people all the time, and some of them are high school student athletes, some of them are college student athletes. I see how hard they try, how bad they want it, and Leonard Taylor has so much talent and so much ability. And I know for a fact that last year he just took plays off. He took time off. He didn't really want to work hard. Like, I don't get it. Someone has to light that fire under him. And the only person that people say can do it is his mother, which is ridiculous. Like, I wish I had, I'm on this show to give you guys answers. I don't have answers. My mother doesn't light a fire under me. If anything, she makes me want to go to sleep. Like, I don't understand why Leonard Taylor isn't angry on the field. Like, the players that do the best are angry on the field. They want to kill somebody, but I think LT is too nice a guy. Nice guys don't do well if you're playing defensive tackle. Somebody needs to give him some angry juice before every game, like call his mother names or something. I don't know. Like, if they could get a ventriloquist who could make it sound like an offensive lineman is saying stuff about Leonard's mom during the game, like, I would hire that ventriloquist. I would give him a scholarship spot on the team. I would even start him at right end and just use his ventriloquism, because Leonard Taylor, when he's on, he's as good as 3 defensive linemen. He's blowing up everything constantly. He's like that Warren Sapp where Miami had to take him out of practice because they couldn't even practice when Warren Sapp was on the practice field. Like, he's that kind of talent. So it bothers me to have to say he doesn't give effort all the time. Like, Leonard, give effort. Like, just give effort every single rep, every single play. You're going to play 70% of every game this year. Be ready. Be mad. Try to kill the guy in front of you like everyone else is trying to do. And I think he'll be a first-round NFL draft pick. I mean, everybody says he's going to be a first-round NFL draft pick, but it's not based on what we saw last year, because when NFL teams and scouts look at that, they're like, this is a guy who just isn't really trying all the time, and that's not what the NFL wants. So whether it's the money that motivates him, whether it's mom that motivates him, he better find a way to be motivated every time, because they need him so bad. They have no defensive tackle depth. They have no top-end defensive tackles beside him, in my opinion. And the ends are okay. I really think the ends, I agree with you. I think Nicely Kelly's going to be really, really good. Maybe not this year, but he'll be good enough.
Jafari Harvey.
You have Akeem Messidor, you got Jafari Harvey. You got a decent, I think Ruben Bain's going to be really good, even as a true freshman, because he'll be in situations that he can handle rushing the passer from end or tackle, potentially, depending on how bad the tackle situation is. So LT is honestly the key to the whole thing, because Lance Guidry's defense needs LT to get to the quarterback every single rep. Because if you just relax one rep, Leonard, that could be a touchdown if you got Devontae Brown, Darryl Porter Jr., or whoever trying to cover a fast guy one-on-one down the field. Like, one wrong move and the guy's gone. You got to get there fast. Lance Guidry knows that. He knows the cornerbacks aren't good enough. It's why they brought in 3 transfer cornerbacks after spring practice to try and amp up the competition, get somebody who can play really well on game day. But it remains a question if at corner, which we'll get to, I guess, if that'll happen. So, I know fans are going to be mad at me for whatever, but I mean, that's just the truth. That's the situation with Leonard. I mean, it is what it is.
So your poor mom, okay? She wakes up all excited to watch her son on Good Morning CaneSport. And what did you say? She put you to sleep?
I told her stop watching, stop making comments, and she listened to me. Yeah, listen, I mean, I'm a normal person, I do call my mom every day. Ever since COVID hit, I call my mom every day. I call my mom or my dad every single day because, you realize like how many times are you going to call and they're not there anymore, right? They're your parents. I'm not the youngest guy anymore, so it is what it is. But yeah, like yesterday I was telling a whole story about we had baby parrots trapped in an air duct, and I called this place. It was called believe it or not, it's called Humane Animal Services. Okay, I called every animal services place I could find. This is the only person who answered. He answers, he's like, hello? Doesn't say like Humane Animal Services, whatever. He's like, hello? It's just some dude. And I'm like, is this Humane Animal Services? He's like, yeah. He's like, what's going on? I said, I have these parrots up in my space, next to the air vent. I'm like, can you come over? Like, I need them out like ASAP. They poked a hole through the ceiling, the whole thing. And he's like, I'll be there in an hour. This guy obviously is not too busy, right? He comes over. He reaches up through the hole they already created, grabs out these 2 little baby parrots. I guess the parents were coming in through this big gap or whatever. And I'm figuring, Humane Animal Services. I'm like, he's going to take them, he's going to raise them himself in his backyard. I don't know. He's going to take them to some sort of lovely place where they raise parrots in the jungle.
I'm scared to hear the rest of this.
I'm like, what are you going to do with the baby parrots? And he goes like this. He goes, they're not going to make it. I'm like, Humane Animal Services? He's like, they'll be in a better place. Don't worry. So that's what I'm doing. So I tell my mom that story. And she's like, oh, that's the greatest story. She says, you got to write these stories down, Like when we had a raccoon trapped in the backyard, I asked the pest control guy who actually did it himself. I said, where do you release him? And he says to me, I'm not making this up. Like, it's not me who said it. He said it to me. He says, there's a Chinese restaurant a half mile from here. That's what he says to me. So my mom says, I got to write all these stories down and write a book about all the stories and all the problems I have in my life. Like, to me, that puts me to sleep. I don't need to hear how great my stories are. My stories are terrible. So yeah, I go to sleep and my mom tells me, gives me advice. She tells me what to do. I sort of ignore it. And like, I don't need to hear it. So yeah.
You kill the 2 little parrots.
I didn't kill them. I called him humane.
That's unbelievable.
I guess all it means is that he doesn't torture them before he kills them because it's humane, I guess. It's a humane death. He should call it humane murder of animal services because I don't understand how that's humane. Like, doesn't humane mean like you take them to a sanctuary and like please feed them like some milk? I don't know what do parrots eat or drink. I have no idea.
I don't know, man. I hope your mom really is not watching this show this morning.
She doesn't watch the show. I told her stop watching the show.
She doesn't because you said that she put you to sleep, and then you said you're anticipating her death. Okay, that's not a good combo for
that's not quite how I phrase
it. Show in the morning. Okay, I'm praying. Please, Mrs. Shodell, please do not watch Good Morning CaneSport.
Okay, yeah. I didn't phrase it that way, and yeah, I guess in retrospect, just cut out the whole thing.
Yeah.
You know what? Also cut out the stuff. About Ja'Cory Brown and cut out the stuff about Leonard Taylor. I don't think fans are gonna like that either. You know what? Just take me off the screen and just cut yourself.
Let you sleep. If Azubi and Steven could sleep in this morning, why can't you? Right?
In retrospect, I should have now. I put my foot in it. It's been a bad morning, no doubt.
Oh my God. All right. So we talked a little bit about linebackers too, and this one's interesting because when you go out and you pick up a pedestrian guy like KJ Cloyd, I'm not insulting him. He has not done much in his college football career to this point, and he's, I guess, a 6th-year senior, 5th-year senior, one of those two. I'd have to go back and double-check that. But you're picking him up a month before training camp. That's a loud statement that you're not happy with the depth that you have at that position. So that's the story right now of the offseason. Although I am hearing a lot of really, really, really strong things about one of the true freshmen, Marcellus Pulliam. So he's going to be one to watch in fall camp. Can he make enough of an impression on the coaches to earn himself playing time as a true freshman? So we'll see how that goes.
And as weird as it is, by the way, it's a silent I. I don't know why he pronounces his name Marcellus, but it looks like Marcellius. I understand why you call him that. It's just a little weird that he has a silent I. I've never seen that before.
I'm terrible with names anyway.
No, but that's a little weird. Yeah.
All right, and we also talked a little bit about the defensive back position. So I encourage everybody to take a look at that story. Hopefully you'll get a little insight from it. I thought it was important that we've been so focused on recruiting justifiably with everything going on, but I thought it would be nice to take a few minutes today to give you guys an update on what's going on with the actual football team.
By the way, real quick, since we're not going to talk about the DBs in depth, I go to there's a festival in Coconut Grove. I live in Coconut Grove.
Another one.
Don't
It's
stop
another
me.
one of those stories that's going to be in your book.
Yeah, this will be in my book. So I went to the Goombay Festival with my wife. It's like this Bahamian festival over the weekend. And I'm not kidding you. The first person I run into when I walk into this street that the festival on is Cam Kinchins. And, of course, said hello, introduced him to the wife, da-da-da. We're chatting for a little while. And he says, "Do you know who runs this festival?" And I said, "No." He says, "My mom." His mom doesn't put him to sleep. His mom runs the entire Goombay Festival, which, by the way, was so loud that a friend of mine who has a place that he rents people, he rents an apartment to people in this place near the festival. They called my friend and they're like, "The neighbors are playing the music way too loud. You need to do something." I mean, when I tell you the speakers were the size of a 2-story building, I'm not kidding you. My wife and I walked in front of the speakers, and you put your fingers like this, and you feel your clothes and your body vibrating in front of the speakers, and you look to your left, and there's just 3 dudes standing there with their arms crossed, just listening to the music right in front of the speakers. I don't understand how that works. Obviously, I'm an old person.
Unbelievable. What happened?
People are going to be so mad at me. They hate my stupid stories. I apologize. Let's continue with the football talk. Go.
Well, no, I want to know what happens at a Goombay festival. Like what?
It's just all this Bahamian food. It's really cool.
What do they do?
They had like a stage with a lot of music. They had a DJ. There was a ton of people there. They have a ton of food. Obviously conch chowder, fried conch, cracked conch, any kind of conch. They had coconut shrimp. Every type of Bahamian food you would expect was at the festival. It's a great festival. It's a 2-day festival down here.
That sounds pretty cool.
And it's run by Cam Kinchins' mom. Thank you, Mrs. Kinchins.
All right, let me get back to football here because this is your moment, Matt. This is it, man. You are going to love this. We have an analysis today written by Matt breaking down the Miami Hurricanes number 10 ranked transfer portal class and which players rate the highest. And you know how Matt rails about this transfer portal. After doing this story, do you feel a little bit better about the transfer portal?
No.
Yeah.
I was forced to write this story. I didn't want to write this story.
I know. You don't feel better about it?
I mean, On3, look, I'm not going to criticize anybody who does any rankings, but like On3 ranks the class number 10. We have the number 10 transfer portal class. I think the best teams have the number 121 ranked portal class. It should be in reverse order because the ones that don't need transfers are going to be the best programs, right? So the ones that have major, massive gaps in their roster are going to have the best portal classes. So why are they ranking the teams that take all the transfers so high? The top teams on these stupid rankings should be the bottom ranked teams. Like, this team had to take 11 transfers. This team had to take 14 transfers, so they get 114 points or whatever. They're ranked 121. Alabama took 1 transfer, so they're number 1 in the country in the transfer portal rankings. Like, that's how I would do the ranking. I would do the opposite, the total reverse of how these sites do the portal rankings, because you don't want to be high in the portal rankings. Ask any college coach, they do not want to be high on this list, okay? You don't want to be taking so many portal guys that you can rank in the top of the country for how many portal guys you got and how people think they might pan out as roster gap fillers on your team.
So you don't feel better after?
No, I don't. I told you, the only free agents that I see on this whole team, Javion Cohen, Matt Lee, Francisco Mamagoa, and they've taken, I think, 15 guys. One of them already left. So 3 out of 14. And last year I wasn't wrong, by the way. Last year I had, the guys I thought were free agents. I think the only one I got wrong, I said Darryl Porter was a free agent. That didn't work out so well. But the other ones I got right, I said Henry Parrish, I thought it was a transfer. He wound up being a transfer. He's fine, but he's not like for me, a free agent is a championship level player. Last year he took 11 transfers. I think you and I both agreed that I think 4, maybe 5 of them really panned out. And by panned out, by the way, that means they were decent and started for a 5-win team. Like, this is why you need to build through recruiting and then fill the gaps. When you take 25 guys in a 2-year span and you only have 85 roster players, again, if you're not taking a majority of guys that are graduate seniors or just seniors that are here for 1 year, you're just clogging up your roster with throwaway guys from other programs, or guys that weren't happy at other programs, or guys that were backup at other programs, or guys that are at a lower level that want to get a chance to try and prove it at a higher level, where you don't know how they're going to actually work out against much better competition. Like, they're just question marks unless you're having free agents on your team. But, Mario didn't have a choice, in his opinion. Mario wants to try to win 8, 9, 10 games this year. He looks at his roster that he has, and he's like, our roster's terrible, and we need 14, 15 guys. He took 15, really. I mean, one of them left, but he took
as
15.
Much as we can get.
He took the same amount that Miami's taken in recruiting in past years in transfers this year, okay? Yeah. That's mind-boggling, but it shows you what he thinks of the roster. And, I cracked up because JD Pickle, right? He did an update. Well, not an update. He spoke with Mario Cristobal, right? Or at some point he did. And then he just does a 7-minute thing we had on the website. But he does a 7-minute just talking to himself, to you guys, about what he thinks about Miami and Mario and all this stuff. And he says that Mario has a quiet confidence. Like, what is a quiet confidence? If you sit there quietly and you're not crying, is that quiet confidence? Like, I don't even know what that means. Like, literally, he said a couple of times during the broadcast, like, Mario has a quiet confidence. Like, I don't know the definition. I know what confidence is, and I know what quiet is, and I don't think they go together as an actual term in real life, because there's no such thing. There's loud confidence, but like quiet confidence, is that like you do something with your eyes, staring at somebody? Like, show me your quiet confidence face, Gary. Let's see your quiet confidence face. Because you can't say anything if you're going to be quiet. I don't know how you show confidence while you're quiet. That's what cracked me up. And that's why I put that in the headline, by the way. Just as a little dig that nobody else would get except for me, because I'm just here to entertain myself. I'm sure nobody else even noticed that I put quiet confidence in the headline of the story that we put up based on his interview. But that's how I roll.
JD does a nice job on his videos, though. In fact, there is one of those on the website as well today where he talks a little bit about the Miami Hurricanes. So you guys might want to check that out. And then I think I'm scheduled to do the On3 roundtable with him on Friday. So
ask him why he decided to use the term. There's a very quiet confidence about Mario Cristobal. I'm just curious. Ask him. Say, what did that mean? I'm just curious, and then report back to everybody and tell everybody.
I'll try to remember to do that. That could be kind of
very fun. Not just quiet confidence. He said very quiet confidence, like even more quiet than silence. Apparently, whatever comes after silence, that's on the opposite side of noise. That's what he was. He was very quiet confidence.
All right, let's see. Before we get to recruiting, because we do have a lot of recruiting news today as well, our top 50 post-spring players on the roster series continues today, and we're up to number 9. Boy, time flies. We started with number 50. We're up to number 9. That means we've been doing this for 41 days, I guess, Matt. Hope you guys have been enjoying that series. Well, today, number 9, linebacker Francisco Malgoa, a guy that I think everyone's going to love this year. I just pray he stays healthy. They need him so badly. He is a really good inside linebacker, and
I should have mentioned him because he came in. I thought he was a transfer. I'm changing him to a free agent because you're right. He looked so good this spring. I haven't seen a linebacker look that good.
I agree.
In the middle since probably Shaq Quarterman. Like, he's big, he's fast, like he's what they need, and he's. Yeah. I'm surprised, honestly, he didn't put up bigger numbers at Washington State. I don't know. I haven't watched the nuances of how they used him, but I can't imagine that Lance Guidry isn't going to use him the way he should be used, which was freaking just getting into the offensive backfield, not have him just going sideways, sideline to sideline, which is what I'm guessing Washington State probably wound up doing a lot with him because he just didn't put up big numbers. When you look as good as this kid did, I mean, there's a lot that he can get done in this defense, in my opinion.
He's a real deal linebacker, and the Shaq Quarterman analogy is probably, I can't believe I'm saying this.
Well, Shaq's a little shorter, but I'm just saying in terms of the productivity he can have. Yeah.
Yeah, very, very, very. Yeah, could be very similar type players. So we take a look at Francisco Malgoa today. Hope you guys enjoy that. All right, let's talk a little bit about recruiting. The young guy has been grinding it out the last few days. That's why we're letting them sleep this morning. But we have a story on the website on 4-star Las Vegas Bishop Gorman tight end Elijah Lofton, and he's nearing a decision. Miami appears to be in good shape. I put in a recruiting prediction for him to go to Miami. Can't remember if I did it yesterday or the day before, but that's in there. Miami has a huge probability of getting him in the RPM, and so you can get caught up on Elijah Lofton in today's story. Also, a breakdown on recent commit Cam Pruitt. This is a linebacker. I don't know if you guys watched the tape that we had on the story on him the other day, but I think it's in this story as well. Make sure you watch this highlight tape when you read this story. This is a kid that loves to hit people. Matt, did you watch Cam Pruitt on video at all?
I hate watching highlight tapes on how.
Okay, well, this guy.
I'll watch some like clips here and there, but I can't. It makes me crazy. You know how it makes me feel watching these freaking highlight tapes. I want to watch low light tapes. If you put a low light tape and a highlight tape and splice them together, I will watch it all day long. But I'm not watching your freaking highlight tape. Anybody, okay? I'm just not going to do it. I'm sorry.
This kid's a 3-star, but he loves to pop people, man. I can see why they took him. You know, he's a physical kid. He'll be good on special teams.
Everybody should read also the coach's take on him, because honestly, that's way more valuable than watching some guy making plays against smaller, worse competition. Because these coaches, you know, they usually know what's what, you know, especially in Alabama. So, you know, some of the things that coach Steve Mask said in that update really give you a sense for, you know, what kind of player this kid can be. And he's going to be really, really good.
All right. We also have a story. This is kind of a cool one, actually. I think he's German. He's from Roanoke, Virginia, North Cross School. He's an offensive lineman. His name is Moritz Schmoranzer.
Did you just call him a moron?
No,
I can't say that word anymore. What's wrong with you?
Schmoranzer.
You can't say that.
That's his name, right?
No, it's not.
How do you pronounce it?
I'm not going to say it.
It's Moritz Schmoranzer. Anyway, he was offered.
You're a schmoron. Okay, Gary? You're a schmoron. Jeez. Rude. I'm sure it's not pronounced that way.
He's a big German kid who was offered this week by Alex Mirabal, and he will take a Miami official visit this weekend. A very cool story. I really encourage you guys to take a look at that.
And I'm sure it's Schmoranzer, but you can say whatever you want.
Schmoranzer. Yeah, that works.
Yeah, not Schmoran.
Well, I said Schmoran. Huh?
Yes, you did.
I said Schmoranzer.
Yes, you did.
Schmoranzer.
It's a big difference.
I feel confident that it's one of those two. So, anyway, it's a really cool story. Make sure you guys check that one out. Miami also continues making steady progress with Clearwater Academy International 4-star center Jason Zandamela. Boy, these names are testing me this morning. He's now considering taking an official visit to Coral Gables as well. He gives us an update on his status. A running back who may also set an official visit is Chandler, Arizona 4-star Khalil Valentine. Now, that's an easy name to pronounce. We have an update on him, how he's being recruited by the Hurricanes, how he's speaking to Mario Cristobal and running backs coach Tim Harris. He will take an unofficial to Miami on March the 31st and could be back for a visit of the official variety at some point. So check out the story on Khalil Valentine. And then we also have an analysis of recent commit Demetrius Freeney. He's the cornerback from San Mateo College. San Mateo College out there, I guess it's San Mateo, California College. He's not going to overwhelm defenders with his size, but he's a quality cover guy. He's coming to Miami. We give you an analysis of him. All right, that's going to do it for today for Good Morning CaneSport. We thank you so much for waking up with us once again. If you like this show, like Matt Shodell, want to be in his book, hit your subscribe button, hit your like button. It'll help us very much with the algorithms at YouTube and growing our audience. More than anything, please, 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 we want the entire Canes Nation united at CaneSport.com this summer and fall. If you're not yet a subscriber, get on our site and become a subscriber. Your subscriptions allow us to do what we do every day to try to enhance your fan experience. So for Matt Shodell, the sleeping Azubi Charles and Stephen Wagner, I'm Gary Ferman. Thank you so much for for joining us this morning. We'll see you next time.